Hey everybody, it's X-Playman giving you the Week 1 summary for the IEL 0 Hour League. Let's check it out. Starting with Game 1, it was the series between Mob and Chimera Crew, Mob being the home team in this series, meaning that they will defend for 2 out of the 3 games. And in the first game, Chimera Crew ends up winning 5-1 as Ganon and Genitex both get 3 kills in round number 5, but Ganon does it with the shield. Wow, what an impressive performance with a 10-3 KD for a 3.33 ratio. And then going into game number 2, we had Chimera Crew attacking at the beginning, and Ganon pulled off an 8-1 KD. 8-1 with an 8.0 KDR. Zcot also doing impressively well in that game. Both Ganon and Zcot getting a cost of 100%. That is impressive by both of them. Going into game number 3, you had Ganon once again just showing off with 9 kills and 6 deaths for a 1.5 kill death ratio, and once again getting a cost of 100. The final scores the first game was 5-1 Chimera Crew, game 2 was 5-0 Chimera Crew, and game number 3 was 3-5 Chimera Crew. Let's head over to the other matchup between 1-9 and KD. For game number 1, you had 1-9 playing 2 games as the attackers in the beginning, and Kommando Delta, excuse me, 1-9, yes, and Kommando Delta getting one of those games. So in game number 1, it was 1-9 on the attack, Kommando Delta on the defense, and 1-9 had a strong start, going 5-2 in that game. Rule Ghost pulling off an 8-4 KD for a 2.0 KDR and a cost of 85.7%. Game number 2, we had Kommando Delta on the attack in this one, and if we're going to highlight somebody, Rule Ghost, once again, what a mind-blowing game that was, getting 14 kills, 2 deaths for a ratio of 7.0. His entry was +3, and his cost was 100%. That was just an absolutely nuts game. He had 4 multi-kills in 4 multi-kill rounds in that game as well. That was just a mind-blowing game to watch on Hotel Trouble. You definitely want to check that out. And then in game number 3, it was Embassy Raid. We had 1-9 on the attack in the beginning, with Kommando Delta defending, and the artist was actually really impressive in this game, having a 10-6 KD, and had the highest cost. They're tied with Cry on 1-9, but ultimately it would come down to a 9-round game where Kommando Delta would lose 5-4. So game 1 was 5-2, 1-9. Was 5-2 was the score in favor of 1-9. Game 2 was Kommando Delta 1-9 had a score of 5, and in game number 3 it would be 1-9 winning by 5 or by 1 with a score of 5, and Kommando Delta with a score of 4. And ultimately, the difference between these teams right now seems like Chimera Crew being Chimera Crew. They just are dominant every single time they play in any matchup. It's really nuts how they perform. It just seems to always show up. Mob was a team that actually had some a couple players like Fly Like an Eagle and Big Body pull up some decent numbers, but I think ultimately Chimera Crew proved to be a bigger challenge. And also, as you watch the matches, there wasn't that same kind of the gunfights, the one-on-ones weren't exactly being picked up on. But we'll take a look at those stats in just a moment too, where you'll see like Fly Like an Eagles actually is in the top half of the league when it comes to cost. For the 1-9 Kommando Delta match, 1-9 is just an impressive team as a whole, because Chimera Crew has its people that you got to look out for. But with 1-9, they're strong when they're together, and when they start to break apart, where someone gets picked off or someone else gets picked off, that's when they might start to fall into trouble. But 1-9 has almost every single one of their team members in the top half in the league in cost, which is nuts. To have everyone on your team like that, to have them that high, almost everyone. Then for Kommando Delta, the pacing in the beginning was slow, and that proved to be their downfall in the beginning. But as they picked up the pace, you actually the Kommando Delta that you saw in Game 1 compared to the Kommando Delta that you saw in Game 3 was totally different. And that could be dangerous for other teams going up against Kommando Delta, because looking at this team, here's a team that we can see make an adjustment. And as a team, you saw them get better from Game 1 to Game 3, which is very challenging to get everyone on board into adjusting. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the league leaders after week 1. I get it. It's silly, to start, reaching for the skies here at week 1, but we'll see what it looks like for right now. Starting off with cost. The top 10 leaders in cost right now is Ganon sitting there with 89.5%, Rule Ghost with 81.8%, followed by Techno, Hendrix, and Wolf with 77% each. And cost, for those who are not familiar with it, is basically the percentage of rounds where the player has gotten either a kill, has defused the objective, defused the bomb, survived until the end of the round, or they have traded, meaning that somebody refragged off of their death, or they actually traded with another player, killing them at the same time. So anytime any one of those things happen in any of their rounds, it improves their cost score, and that's probably going to be the most the most important stat for determining who's the best players in the league, really, at this point. But with all of that said, you can still learn a lot from the other details, and this is all on the Gilded page, by the way, which you can find in the link at the link in the video description below. But this is the kill-death ratio leaders right now. Ganon once again up there on top, followed by Rule Ghost. Once again, that's a big part of cost, is being able to kill, get your kills. But then looking in third, it's Chimera Crew again, with Zcot at 1.75, followed by Louis with 1.55. The leaderboard is only showing those players who have played at least 15 rounds, and Chimera Crew has 4 of the top 5 players. 3 of the top 5 players in the league right now. Pretty nuts. And those 4 players have over a 1.5 KDR. Moving on to the entry leaders right now, you have Slayex and Artis, both tied with a +3, but Slayex has 5 kills on entry, and Techno has 5 kills as well, but he's +2. And then Hendrix is +2 as well in third. And entry is essentially the first kill versus the first death in each round. Moving on from entry leaders, we have the damage per round. This is just absolutely nuts. Rule Ghost with 182 damage per round. One important note about the damage per round is, of course, the game does not track explosives. So like frags, C4, or shield, even doing melees like that, they don't count for damage. The shield melee anyway does for the damage counter on there. Going back to the top row here, now we have kills per round leaders, and in the kills per round, big part of why you see Ganon and Rule Ghost have the highest cost in the league right now is because their kills per round is so high, only off by 0.01 between the two of them. And then you see Zcot there with 1.11. Zcot's always been good when it comes to getting kills and KDR. That's nothing new to see him up there on top on any of the leaderboards. Then checking out survivability, once again, you have Ganon and Rule Ghost on top, with Ganon leading there because he's played fewer rounds than Rule Ghost has. But Ganon has basically survived for almost half of the rounds he's played until the end, which is an insane number when you compare it to other performances in similar type games. That half the time is crazy. Again, it's week one. Calm down, but it's still impressive to see those numbers. And then for the objective leaders, we have Rule Ghost and Louis both defusing the objective twice. For trades, Wolf is on top, as is Rule Ghost, 8 and 7 for them. For Chimera Crew, Techno is tied in second with 7 trades. And for Simplex and Fly Like an Eagle, they are in fourth place, tied with 6 trades. Our multi-kill leaders right now is Rule Ghost with 10 multi-kill rounds, followed by Ganon's 8 multi-kill rounds. Rule Ghost right now is the only one in the league who has gotten 4 kills in a round, just one short of that ace. And Rule Ghost and Ganon are both tied for 3 kills in a round. Rule Ghost having that one higher in double kills over Ganon. But another, number to pay attention to as well, and we highlighted him in game 3, is Artist, who had 7 double kills in Saturday's games for week 1. Going up to our clutch leaders, Ganon, Zekot, and Hendrix both have successfully clutched games. Only Hendrix, Rule Ghost, and Cry have clutched games where they're shorthanded. So not 1v1 scenario clutches. There they are right there. So that is the league standings right now, and the league stats for the players. Let's take a look at the actual standings. Right now, Chimera Crew is leading with 1-9. Chimera Crew just has that higher round win percentage over 1-9. And one thing that's pretty shocking about this data, again, it's only week 1, but we always talk about how the game is so defender friendly, and yet when you look at these stats, there is not any team that's performing better on defense than attack. Every single team has basically the exact same performance on whether they're attacking or defending. If you go round everything to the nearest 10th, it's literally the exact same number. Chimera Crew has a 0.8 win percentage on attack and defense. 1-9 has a 0.7 win percentage on attack and defense. Mob has a 0.2 on attack and defense, and Kommando Delta has a 0.3 on both attack and defense. And these stats are calculated per round. So this is actually pretty surprising to me that I expected we would see more defense wins, but it looks like, if I can quote the famous coach, you are what your record says you are. After week 1, they've only played one team so far, each of these guys. They have the 2 more weeks before they will have faced everybody in the league at least once. So let's go ahead and check out the league standings where they sit right now. As you saw in there, Chimera Crew and 1-9 are both leading the league, with Mob and Kommando Delta looking for their first win. And let's go ahead and take a look at the not every team played every map. So the one that I wanted to show you guys this week was Embassy Raid, because every team did end up playing on Embassy Raid in week 1. And Chimera Crew is leading on Embassy Raid, winning all of their rounds, that game where they swept Mob. And then 1-9 winning just over half of their rounds, as well as Kommando Delta playing that, just being the opponent, has won just under half of their rounds. The funny thing about looking at 1-9 and Kommando Delta is look at the attack and defense win percentages. They both have exactly the same number, the same percentage of wins on attack as they do defense. This should be interesting to see how they break up going into further into the season. But 1-9 and Kommando Delta both have a 0.7 attack percentage attack win percentage on Embassy Raid, and both 1-9 and Kommando Delta have a 0.3 win percentage on defense in Embassy Raid. Just really, I thought that was a really interesting fact. Let's go ahead and take a look at the team stats before we take a look at next week's schedules. And right now, just this is not sorted in any particular order, just other than how their standings are in the league currently. One thing that we're going to take a look at is we'll see Chimera Crew and 1-9 are on the top 2 rows, and they are the 2 teams that will be facing each other next week. And as I said before, cost is probably one of the most important numbers to determine, who's typically one of the better players in the league. And if we look at the team cost combined, 1-9, as I said, they have a great whole team. 1-9 is actually higher than Chimera Crew after the first week in cost, where Chimera Crew might have that a bigger spread in ability on their team after the first week. Another noteworthy point is Chimera Crew did sub after game 2. So they do have 2 players that did not show up on the leaderboard because they did not meet the minimum 15-round requirement to show up on there. So the next week's matchup, well, really this Saturday's matchup for week 2, is going to be a nice one to watch between Chimera Crew and 1-9, both of them undefeated, but somebody has to lose. And Mob versus Kommando Delta, both of them looking for their first wins, and somebody has to win. And so we will start to see this data start to flush out. And once again, on the Gilded here, you can find those right here. This is the next matchup coming up. This is the one that we just finished right up here on top. You have Chimera Crew versus 1-9. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, or U.S. East time zone, starting at 2 p.m. Chimera Crew versus 1-9, and at 3:30 p.m. Kommando Delta versus Mob. That is the update for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it live. For those of you who missed it and want to find the reruns, those will be coming up over the next 2 days. And finally, a new update for 0 Hour came out today, and it includes the new watch code for the expedition. That's all you guys in the community. If you're a player who checks out the scoreboard looking for your stats, or after the game is over checking the leaderboard to see what your position is, then you're in the expedition. And you can also join other people who are part of the expedition by going to the Discord in the link in the description below. You can also go to the League's Gilded page and get all of the stats I just showed you, but browse it at your own pace and go through all the details and see all the different teams that are going on. But check that out. The code for the watch, by the way, is XSweat5v5. That is XSweat5v5, all capital letters. That is your weekly your first week summary for the IEL 0 Hour League. We will see you this Saturday. Bye.